got to fight this guy. Oh, you got injured in camp. You lose to that guy too. Now you're set back when you could have been a champion.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of like weirdness going on with possibilities and, you know, just luck, bad luck, and good luck.
Bad luck and good luck. Timing, I think, is a big thing.
Is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's
I don't know.
Completely unfair. It is completely just. I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled.
And then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you. That is called one thing. That's called being a bully.
Joe Rogan didn't hold back when discussing Jake Paul's planned fight with Gervonta "Tank" Davis. He criticized the matchup, pointing out that the major size difference between the two makes it dangerous. Rogan explained that weight classes exist for a reason, to keep fighters safe and ensure fair competition. He argued that Jake seems more interested in selling tickets and hyping the event than respecting the sport's rules. Rogan's biggest concern is that Jake's larger size and power could seriously hurt Tank, making the fight both unsafe and pointless.
But no time limit within the weight class.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
That would be pretty that'd be pretty wild.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy.
Because you know, like two guys are facing off each other, like, and they know, like, there's no rescue every 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you go into it knowing you're either getting knocked down or submitted, or you're doing that to the other person.
Michael Bisping has voiced strong criticism of Jake Paul's decision to fight Gervonta "Tank" Davis, calling the matchup completely unbalanced. He noted that Jake is preparing to face an opponent who weighs nearly 100 pounds less, which goes against the core principles of fair competition in boxing. Bisping reminded fans that Jake's planned fight with 58-year-old Mike Tyson already raised questions, and now, this fight makes things even worse. He believes the matchup isn't about testing skills but about Jake chasing an easy advantage. According to Bisping, boxing is built on fair and equal contests, and this one looks more like a stunt for personal gain that puts Tank's safety at real risk.
That's called being a bully. It was bad enough when he fought Mike Tyson, a man that was 58 years old, and he was walking around like, I just beat the baddest man on the planet. I just destroyed Mike Tyson and went out there and I beat him, and him and his brother are all celebrating and shit like that. It's like, dude, what are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously and give you credit as a boxer, you have to take on challenges that are real. You have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you were to go up to this guy in a bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word: whoa, 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 stop being such a bully. Leave him alone. You are way bigger than this guy. And that's clearly what we have here. It is ridiculous. When you look at the tail of the tape, Gervonta "Tank" Davis, granted, a very, very skilled boxer, a world champion. He's had some great wins. He's had a tremendous career. He's got 28 knockouts on his record. I'm just looking at the tail of the tape here. 30 years old, Jake Paul, 28. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" tall, whereas Jake Paul is 6'1". I would never dream on picking on a guy that is 5'5" tall. Granted, there's some tough guys out there that are 5'5", okay? They're smaller guys, but for 5'5", they'll pack a good punch. Typically, they're mixed martial artists or boxers, yeah.
Teddy Atlas reacted strongly to the face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis, pointing out the huge size difference between the two. He joked that Tank looked so small next to Jake that he'd need a ladder just to reach his chin. Atlas said that while differences in skill and style are normal in boxing, this kind of physical mismatch crosses the line. In his view, Tank is simply too undersized to compete effectively, making the fight look one-sided and unfair before it even begins.
They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract, but I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank: a ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but you know, a little different. The size difference was, I mean, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping, and it made me think, and I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him, because I know he's an expert in this area, but it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips. He was Thunderlips back there.
Joe Rogan believes Jake Paul's recent fights are driven more by promotion than real competition. He explained that these matchups are designed to grab attention and attract casual fans by creating unusual pairings rather than fair ones. Rogan said all the betting talk and hype around these events are more about headlines than genuine sporting achievement. In his view, Jake understands how to stay in the spotlight and uses boxing mainly as a tool to promote himself, even when the fights don't make much sense from a competitive standpoint.
That makes it a problem. My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm a fucking idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love everybody.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it,
watching
it
it
bothers
is
the fuck out
hard.
of me.
Watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also man, the sports betting apps, they introduced like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friend. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in.
Thing.
They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in any way they can.
Leonard Ellerby explained that Gervonta "Tank" Davis wasn't mentally prepared to face Lamont Roach. He said Tank was dealing with personal issues and didn't want to add more pressure by taking on a big fight at that moment. According to Ellerby, Tank's focus was on getting his personal life in order rather than proving anything in the ring. That's why the fight with Roach never happened, even though fans were expecting. Reports suggest that Gervonta "Tank" Davis is considering retirement after his upcoming fight with Jake Paul. According to sources, this decision isn't about chasing more titles or adding to his legacy, it's about securing financial stability. Many observers believe Tank accepted the fight mainly because of the massive payday it guarantees, rather than for competitive reasons. Analysts also point out that he's been dealing with personal and professional pressures lately, which could be influencing his choice. In that sense, the Jake Paul fight looks more like a smart business move than a career milestone, an opportunity for Tank to cash in before stepping away from the sport.
Like, let's go band for band on what you make. Again, there's nothing wrong with Tank going to get his money, but let's all be clear that that's all the fight is for Tank. He's telling you without telling you that he's fighting Jake just because he's getting $40 million. So when we talk about boxing being dead, Tank has to line up at the front of the line. I can't blame him, but don't throw around, oh, boxing's dead and people switch sides and all of that. You chose not to be great. That's it. You chose not to be great. Stuff like that, choices like that will kill boxing, for sure. On a competitive level, it won't kill it on a business level. On a business level, until people run out of interest in these kind of matchups, it'll do well. On a competitive level, choosing not to fight the best will kill the sport. So maybe it's better if people like Tank aren't in the sport. And I don't even say that because I want that to be the case. I think Tank is ridiculously talented, but you can't want a fighter to fight more than what they want to. You can't. Tank fans or Tank people that like Tank and think he's one of the best, you can't want it for him. And then Shakur came back with, that's how I know you soft. I can't even go back and forth with you soft ass. You rather pop to me on social media than get in that fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz. He says, the people got your chest out so bad. You talking like you a killer, forgetting that you the one that runs, bitch. I'll be bring the fight to you. This dude, a made-up character. Quote, blessings upon you. Clown-ass dude, wanna be Kevin Gates? Oh my goodness. I mean, here's the thing though. You can't say that stuff about Shakur if you're not willing to fight him. This is the point I think that we're going to come to today, is that Tank can say all this stuff he wants, but if you're not willing to fight Shakur, then none of it means anything anymore. Even if you believe that Tank is going to knock him out, even if you believe that Shakur's a runner, or that he's not in the trenches, or he's not a boxer that's willing to bring the fight, or whatever, none of it matters. You're talking from the sideline because you won't